Let's just say the Ravens decided they want to sign Antonio Brown. We're not suggesting that we know they are. But if they wanted to, what steps would have to be taken before he was actually on the field with Lamar Jackson?
Antonio Brown is still under investigation by the NFL for accusations that were leveled against him, serious charges that were leveled against him by multiple women last fall. Until the NFL completes those investigations, they're not going to put Antonio Brown on the field. So if a team, any team, Baltimore or any other team, were to sign him right now, the most likely scenario is that the league would place Brown on the commissioner's exempt list, which is the basically a suspension with pay, until such time as their investigation is complete and they have decided on whether he deserves discipline for those incidents from last fall. So theoretically, if the Ravens signed him, you could hear in a week or a month or however long it takes for the NFL to complete its investigations that he's suspended for a certain number of games, and the Ravens would have to sign him without knowing what that number is.
So I have a lot of questions that come from that. Mike T., I'm going to come to you first on them because you're my general manager here. That uncertainty, when you sign him and you don't know what it is, if the league announced, if anyone signs this guy, he's suspended 6 games, 8 games, 10 games, at least you know what it is you're dealing with. If you're a general manager, how does that uncertainty, not having any real knowledge of what availability he will have for you, how does that impact your interest in signing him?
Greeny, it's hugely consequential, and here's why. If you're the general manager, you're talking to your owner, you're talking to your head coach. This is a hard decision, and you want to deal with certain. You want to say, hey, he's out 4 games, but week 5, we got him. We're going to go bite the bullet from a PR standpoint, and we're going to go. And not knowing is huge. I am not defending Antonio Brown by any stretch. What he allegedly did is awful. With that said, he has basically served a 15-game suspension already, and this uncertainty is killing his eligibility for the 2020 season.
The uncertainty not only around how the NFL will handle it, but the uncertainty around his personality. We have seen so many things, Marcus. Again, the legal piece of this is one thing. It's the most important thing. But there are other things. There are the videos we've seen over the course of the last year or so on Instagram and other social media that have not seemed, that have been questionable, to say the very least. And there's the way he handled the situation with the Raiders, and the way he handled his departure from Pittsburgh, and the way he handled what happened after New England. I mean, if you're a player on a team right now, Marcus, are you thinking, boy, I hope we sign Antonio Brown?
I'm not thinking I hope we sign him, but I'm also, as a player, like we heard Lamar allude to, I'm hoping I can be the guy that he can come into an environment if that decision is made by the front office and be one of those faces that gives Antonio Brown a little pause in doing the things that we perceive he may do in a locker room. And listen, I'm going to just go out on a limb here, G. I think Lamar Jackson is that guy. I believe if Antonio Brown ended up in the Ravens locker room with Lamar Jackson as quarterback, with that environment that I had an opportunity to spend a year in, that may be a good place for Antonio Brown. And now I know everybody is listening and saying, man, you out of your mind. Have you recognized what Antonio Brown has done around this league? But I know Harbs, I know Harbaugh, I know that organization, Bisciotti, all of those guys, but more than anybody, the impact that I think Lamar Jackson will have, not only by vouching for Antonio Brown just now on a video publicly for everybody to dissect and break down, but also in the workouts that they've had an opportunity to have this offseason could be a part of that decision-making moving forward. Now, with that being said, obviously, we have the caveats. The off-the-field legal issues, the allegations, but even more so, G, I think the NFL, if we just strictly talking about a football decision, the league office, and not only that, but the team more so than the league office is going to have to wrap their heads around the videos that they saw Antonio Brown celebrating getting out of Oakland. When they gave him all of that money, when he had an opportunity to go into a situation where Gruden obviously wanted him to be a big part of that team. That is going to be the most detrimental thing to Antonio Brown getting back into the league. How he responded to teams that gave him an opportunity is the number one thing that teams are going to look at. So if it's the Ravens, it could be them with Lamar Jackson.
And then I just button this by asking back to Dan Graziano, is there reason to believe that this investigation has taken a very long time? Is there reason to believe that if a team indicated it wanted to sign him, the league would expedite that? Is it realistic to think that they're not moving with urgency because there isn't anyone trying to sign him? Do those things go together in your experience covering this stuff?
No, I don't think so, because I think that the league does get asked in these situations. And I remember thinking back to the Kareem Hunt situation, right, where the Cleveland Browns did sign him before the league decided on discipline, and then he ended up being suspended 8 games, and they had constructed a contract that that allowed for them to pay him for the games he played. So no, I don't think so. I think the league is serious about their investigation. They want it to reach its correct conclusion, and they'll take the appropriate amount of time in order to make sure that happens.
All right, we'll see where this thing goes. Again, that's Lamar Jackson saying he'd like to have Antonio Brown. No way to know exactly how that's going to play out or when. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.